Good evening. I am grateful for the opportunity to deliver a lesson tonight. And here I have a glass. So, how much water do you think is in there? Maybe 7, 8, 9 ounces, maybe half a pound, maybe a pound if you're talking about weight, maybe 2 pounds if you were talking about, with the weight with the glass. So not really that heavy, pretty light actually. What if you held it out like this for a minute? Not terrible. What if you held it out for 5 minutes just like this? Not too bad. What about 10 and then an hour? Then you start to feel it. What about a day or a couple days? After really just a short period of time, it starts to feel rather heavy. Eventually your muscles will start to suffer and your arm will feel pretty tired. Now let's compare that glass of water to a struggle you have in your life. Seems pretty minor to you at first, not something you would worry about too much and something you wouldn't put too much thought into. But after an hour you think about it again and it starts to develop in your mind more. Then the next day you think about it again, and then you start to worry, and then a couple days later you're stressed out about a situation and you become very worried. I know this can be something I've struggled with personally, and I imagine many others here as well tonight. But we should try to hold but should we try to hold that drink on our own? That's why we need to rely on God to help us hold the glass. Let's turn to Psalms chapter 55 and verse 22. Psalms chapter 55 and verse 22 says, "Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved." Next, let's turn to Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path." In both these verses, we're told how we should cast our burden and trust in God. We shouldn't try to overcome everything in life alone. We have God to help us along the way. Now let's look at Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 26. Proverbs chapter 28 and verse 26 says, "He that trusteth in his own heart is a fool, but whoso walketh wisely, he shall be delivered." But we have more than just God to help us. We have our family in Christ as well to help us here. In Galatians chapter 6 and verse 2, it says, "Bear ye one another burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ." So don't be afraid to ask God or others here tonight for help. We aren't meant to handle everything by ourselves. So if you have any needs tonight, please come forward as we stand and sing a song of invitation.